So our next speaker, Reggie Littlejohn, she also came all the way from the United States of America. She is the founder and president of Anti-Globalist International, an alliance to expose and oppose the encroachment of Chinese-style global governance. Ms. Littlejohn is co-founder of the Sovereignty Coalition, a non-partisan group determined to protect and defend U.S. national sovereignty and personal medical freedom against all enemies, foreign and domestic. She is the founder and president of Women's Rights Without Frontiers, combating coercive population control in China. An attorney from the United States, Ms. Littlejohn is graduate of Yale Law School. Ms. Littlejohn has testified 8 times at the United States Congress. She has delivered addresses, briefings and remarks at the European, the British, the Irish, Canadian, Estonian parliaments, Den Haag, United Nations, State Department, White House, the Israeli Knesset and the Vatican. She has been featured in written, radio and internet TV pieces by BBC, CNN, CBN, C-SPAN, Fox News, the Ingraham Angle, The American Thinker, Breitbart, Voice of America, and numerous other news outlets. Thank you for giving us an additional insight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you especially to MEP Christine Anderson, without whom none of these events would have happened. You really have opened the door to this discussion in the European Parliament and to all of Europe and really to all of the world. And I just got news that the Epoch Times and NTD TV are live streaming this event. So this is going all over the world. Thank you also to the ESN group and to MEP Bonti for hosting this event. All right, so does the passage of the WHO pandemic agreement on May 20th of 2025 create the framework to usher in a new era of globalist control masquerading as healthcare? Number one, the treaty represents a threat to national sovereignty and personal medical freedom by establishing an unelected, unaccountable globalist organization at the helm of international healthcare policy and implementation, quote, recognizing that the World Health Organization is the directing and coordinating authority in international health work. The treaty further expands the WHO's purview not only to exercising its authority during actual pandemics, but also during potential pandemics and during times between pandemics. In other words, at all times, in perpetuity. Further, nations are expected to amend their domestic legal and regulatory frameworks in alignment with the treaty, further eroding national sovereignty. Number two, censorship. The treaty requires nations to, quote, prevent misinformation and disinformation. That's in the preamble at page 6. Misinformation and disinformation are not defined in the treaty, but we can discern what they are from the WHO's past behavior. And as MEP Bonti pointed out, there was a tweet from the WHO in January 2021, no human-to-human transmission of COVID-19 per Beijing. So if you said, no, there is human-to-human transmission, even though that statement is true, that would be called misinformation and disinformation. Not to be censored afterwards, but to be prevented before. So that's really chilling. How are they going to prevent it before it comes out? Restricting access to accurate data further subverts national sovereignty and personal medical freedom. How can nations or individuals make sovereign decisions over their medical affairs if they cannot access accurate information? Number three, digital IDs. The treaty requires nations to develop, quote, national health information systems utilizing, quote, international data standards for interoperability. Now, I'm not going to, there was a brilliant event here at the European Parliament just a couple months ago about digital IDs and the connection to the World Health Organization. Please watch that. I'm not going to rehash all that here, but what I will say is that even though the digital IDs are not specifically mentioned in the pandemic treaty, they are, the standards for them are set forth in the international health regulations And these standards conform the digital infrastructure that could give rise to a Chinese-style social credit system. And if you want more information on that, watch the previous wonderful event here in the same room a couple months ago. One Health. Now, the One Health approach recognizes that the health of people is interconnected with animal health and the environment, which, as was mentioned, sounds plausible, but this interconnectedness can lead to surveillance and control of every aspect of life on Earth. An article in The Lancet entitled, quote, "One Health, a Call for Ecological Equity," states, quotes, "The consequences of this thinking entail a subtle but quite revolutionary shift of perspective. All life is equal and of equal concern." So are human lives really equal and of equal concern to the lives of cockroaches and crabgrass? Next, the expedited approval of vaccines. The treaty requires nations to, quote, "strengthen domestic regulations in order to ensure that they have, quote, legal, financial, and administrative frameworks necessary to fast-track the approval of vaccines and other medications. This will potentially short-circuit important safety and testing protocols." Next, the pathogen access and benefit sharing system. So we have pathogen access and we have benefit sharing. The pathogen access part of this is basically that the World Health Organization is requiring countries, to find if they find a pathogen, go out into your swamp, go out into your sewer system, go out into your jungle and find pathogens. And don't eradicate them. Don't quarantine them. No, send them to the World Health Organization, which will farm them out to labs all over the world, ostensibly for the purpose of developing vaccines and therapeutics. But obviously, this is going to greatly increase the chances of lab leaks. So to the extent that a lab leak caused COVID-19, we need to be very concerned about lab leaks. And also, there's no restriction on which countries are going to get these pathogens, including countries who are enemies of each other. So it's going to increase the chances of bioterrorist attacks. It's going to greatly enrich big pharma. It could lead to chronic lockdowns. And for those countries that are so inclined, for them to be indefinitely suspending our constitutional rights and human rights. Now, I will mention some things. My esteemed colleague Philip Kruse mentioned the Spiez lab in Switzerland. And I would say this, it's doing the same thing. It's to create a fast and reliable system for sharing materials that could cause epidemics and pandemics. So it's the same thing as the PABS system, but it was started years before. The PABS system hasn't even been passed yet. It may never get passed. I hope it never gets passed. The negotiations have been extended. But that didn't stop the World Health Organization from just founding this Spiez lab that does the exact same thing as the PABS system. So my question is, under what authority is the Spiez lab operating? And is the World Health Organization simply advancing the illusion that member states will determine how PABS will be governed through this annex that hasn't passed yet, when in reality, the WHO will do whatever it pleases, ultra-virus, regardless of any treaty or annex? So, another very esteemed colleague, Sylvia Behrendt, has done a very, very excellent analysis of the PABS system, and was involved with the government of Slovakia, which has issued a public announcement stating in pertinent part, quote, "The delegation of the Slovak Republic will strongly insist that the PABS annex include explicit, legally binding, and enforceable biosecurity and biosafety safeguards addressing the systematic use of dual-use and gain-of-function research. The delegation of the Slovak Republic will emphasize that without the aforementioned fundamental corrections, the PABS system cannot be adopted. And this, again, it's going to, there is nothing in the PABS annex that restricts gain-of-function research. So that's what this is addressing. It just says applicable international law. Well, under applicable international law at this moment, there's gain-of-function research happening all over the world. And this is just going to multiply it just exponentially. So an urgent legal notice regarding the PABS system issued by the Global Health Responsibility Agency concludes, quote, the present PABS design is institutionally and legally indefensible. Now, people have said that they feel that the World Health Organization has veered off of its original mission and that it has become corrupt. I mean, there's no doubt that it's corrupt. But I wonder whether it really has veered off its original mission. I just want to give for your consideration this quote from the first director of the World Health Organization. His name was Brock Chisholm, the first Director General of the World Health Organization. He once stated, quote, to achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas. And Chisholm was a psychiatrist, so I shiver to think how he was going to remove this from the minds of men, what his idea was. But he said the quiet part out loud. If to achieve world government was the goal of the first Director General of the World Health Organization, then it would be naive of us to believe that our national sovereignty and personal freedom are not at risk. Thank you very much.